The finance minister also cautioned against using too much of Singapore's reserves for current spending, which is something opposition parties champion. Mr. Lawrence Wong says investment returns on the reserves will fall, which means future generations will have to pay more taxes. Mr. Wong also reissued Prime Minister Lee Hsien Loong's challenge to the opposition parties to make the matter on the reserves an election issue and put it to the poll if the opposition parties remain unconvinced. Sherlyn Seah has more on the hour-long debate.
A declaration of what the ruling People's Action Party stands for, as Mr. Wong laid out how the government manages Singapore's monies.
Of course, we review, circumstances change, we update our policies. But where it comes to certain fundamental principles and values, like fiscal responsibility, a basic orientation, not just to look at today, but for the future, this must never be compromised, this must never change. These principles were put in place by our founding leaders. They have continued under successive leaders of the PAP, and they will certainly continue under my watch.
He also reminded MPs that there was a time when both sides of the House were aligned when it came to fiscal philosophy.
There was a time under Mr. Lau Tia Kiang where it was very clear the ethos of fiscal responsibility was the same across both sides of the House. It seemed to me that this had changed under Mr. Pritam Singh, that the position had changed under Mr. Pritam Singh. And the Workers' Party, of course, is free to change its position, but I think it should be clear if this is so.
I've heard this before in this House. The point again I would make in response to that is, indeed, I have to agree with the Finance Minister, policies change. A PAP government yesterday would return the money that it has used from the reserves as a matter of principle. But today a PAP government may not return the money it uses from the reserves.
Mr. Singh was referencing the $40 billion drawn out in response to COVID-19, vis-a-vis the nearly $5 billion to tackle the global financial crisis. Other MPs then weighed in.
Can the Workers' Party teach me, assuming you are in government now, how do you top up $40 billion?
I don't mean to belabor this because we're going to get into a hypothetical here, but government announced a 24-month installment for property tax in this budget. You can pay it by installments, can you? Perhaps that could be a way.
Can I ask DPM, in the event of a run of exceptionally good years, better than our predictions, would there be the possibility of putting back some of what we drew down from the reserves during COVID?
Hypothetically speaking, if there is indeed such a bumper year, maybe it will happen, but we will consider it. But in reality, if you look at the facts and if you look at what's going to happen, this will not happen. I think we just have to be realistic. Those days of structural surpluses are over.
Non-constituency MP Leong Man Wai also raised questions on the closure of the CPF special account for those aged 55 and up, as announced in the budget speech.
I think it's important, members of the House, to understand that the closure of the special account is not aimed at saving interest monies. I don't think that there's any system in the world that will pay a long-term assured fixed deposit interest rate, but for you to allow you the flexibility to withdraw like an ATM machine. I think it is one of those policy moves that we are now doing to ensure that the monies that are meant for long-term savings be cited in a long-term retirement account.
He reiterated that people have the option to leave the money in their ordinary account or invest it elsewhere. A more detailed explanation will be provided at the Manpower Ministry's Committee of Supply debate on Monday.